We are going to do some collaging, and I'm going to pull out stacks of old scrapbook paper, some forgotten punches from blasts from the past, and working on some watercolor paper just for the stability, and cut some scrapbook paper 1.5 by 1.5. And we've got some, some old friends. We're just going to see if they make sense and see what kind of fun we can have. And let's go. Welcome back. Okay, so I've drawn out some grid lines. I did some measurements. Yeah, okay. Is that usually my style? No. Usually I'm a kind of shoot from the hip kind of person. But I had an 11 by 15 piece of paper here. Strathmore Series 4. And if you know, you know. And I'm trying to use up my stash. And I thought, well, these squares are very particular. They're very specific in size. So I made a pile of red and then pink and then some stripies over here. And then I've got some neutrals because I probably will want to interject some neutrals, and then some turquoise and blues because blue goes really well with red and pink. And then I also punched out, just off camera you can't see, I took a Martha Stewart punch. This is like 300 years old. And then a Fisker's punch, which this is newer. I think you can still get this. And I did these scallopy hearts, which I'm going to probably put like over top of some of these more boring squares, ultimately. Like that. And I may do more to it than that, but I punched them out so they're ready to go. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now, and then some of these guys. These guys. And some thin ones, just little lacy, kind of doily looking squares. They're 1.5 inches wide. So what I'll probably do is give it like a little lacy border, or I might cut it off and make it even more shallow, or put it at the bottom and just give it a little bit like a skirt and cut that off. I don't know, haven't decided yet. But anyway, so what I'm going to do now is just start putting these on here. And what I like to do is I like to start with a darker color at the corners, like to anchor it in a way. So I like to change it up where not everything is. I've got a lot of different things going on here. So I might go red and then pink, and then like a Dead Sea floral, and then maybe a turquoise, and then maybe back to another red. We've got this other pattern, which I have no idea where this paper is from, but that's okay. And then maybe a stripe, and I didn't measure this. And this is why we do this, folks. This right here is why we do this, because had I started gluing, as you can see, oh, you know what? It's supposed to be a 1/4 inch split between the two, so I did not do that right. Okay, well, that's easy enough. I can always just shift it mentally. Shift. And make it 1/8 of an inch instead of a 1/4. I'm not sure I'm going to redraw this line. But this is why we do a dress rehearsal. And so I'm just going to start filling this in. And then as we get it filled in, then I'm going to potentially go back and put things, overlay things and see where we are. So I'm going to start gluing. I'm just using a glue stick. And my only requirements for myself here are that I don't, I say requirements. My only thoughts is that I don't put the same paper next to each other. And in some ways, I'm just going to try not to put a stripe next to a stripe, and I don't have that many stripes. I just have 3. But just to give it some variety. I think your eye wants some varieties. I want it to feel very patchworky, like a quilt, like a Valentine's quilt, or a red, pink, and turquoise quilt. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm using similar strength paper, not 100%. Some of this paper is a little thinner than others. Where's a good example? It's toile. It's a little on the thin side. I think this is really old paper from Hobby Lobby. And I think this is fairly thin too. But a lot of this is Tim Holtz paper. This stuff has got some substance to it. It's good. So when you go to glue it down, it's really easy to butt it up next to its neighbor because there's an edge, a good edge to it. And the other thing I did was I inked all of the edges in some walnut stain. You can see that there, maybe. You can see it better on white, against the white. So that they just, I just like it. It's, you do not have to, do you? Do whatever makes you happy. If you want to use pink or red, that would work too. But the goal here is to get a collage without, kind of like a quilt, like I said, but without following a pattern. And you'll see some of these papers that I'm turned over are double-sided. So I could just as easy use that as this. And I may, as I go down the paper or down the piece, I may do exactly that. And I may add, now this one obviously single-sided. Oh, this one's super thin too, I remember. But yeah, it's all good. So this is very relaxing for me. I sit on the couch at night and just, I'll come up with a, that is not an inch and a half. Look, well, you know what we're going to do? It's time to, that is slightly longer. That's where I was cutting on the couch and I didn't do a great job. But I'll take a bunch of paper with me to the couch and watch TV and just sit there and slice. Ideally, all the same size. They aren't going to judge. But I slice, and then the next night I might ink. Wow. Either I am a bad judge of where that line is, or I have, well, you know what? We're not going to sweat it. All right, next row. So because we went with red, let's now go with a pink. And then maybe we'll put a neutral here. I'm just going to start. Now, the first row I kind of laid out for you so you can see it, but I am not going to, because then you're working twice. And I don't want to do that. This one just does not want to stay stuck. He says, I know I'm the wrong size, man. Paper doesn't talk. I know. See, that's a pretty back side of this one. It's really pretty, but I'm using this side. Sorry. All right, let's see. Do we want to go that? It's awful dark. What if we go tall? Nope. How about a stripe here? A red stripe would be good. Yep, I think so. But let's go this way. That stripe went this way. So let's change it up and go that way. And I encourage you to use your stash. Use what you've got. I did not buy a single piece of paper for this project. This could have been jelly prints. This could be a white cardstock. Not cardstock, white copy paper, and just take magic markers and make stripes on them, make plaids, make zeros and dots and dashes. And as you can see, I clearly have a measuring issue because that is not the same as those, but yeah, we are just not going to sweat this, people. We just aren't. That's very pink, and I just did a pink. Let's see, what about that guy? I like it. And so, and I'm probably going to end with a dark red here just to anchor this side over here. This side feels a little light and it's what about this red guy? Boy, that'd really throw in a woo. I'm not sure I like that now with all this other red. All right, let's go with this one. I'd cut those up, but those may have to go on another project. And that's okay. All right, moving right along. I also cut up some black, because every once in a while you want a little black to anchor you. Nope, did that one already. I'm trying to do one of everything before I start repeating. I'm probably sitting there going, the other one, the other one. Do I want this? And here's the other key. Don't overthink it. Just start gluing. Because no matter what you do, you're going to come back to it and go, I love it. I promise. But I do like to use neutrals in here to give just to give your eye a place to rest. And it actually pulls your eye across, because when you see all this pink and red, it goes to the things that aren't. So let's put that guy there. I think I cut this guy short, but it's okay. I don't think I've used this one yet. There's another red I haven't used yet. The other thing I sometimes do is just take some plain, like red paper, and then I can take a stamp and stamp in on red, and that creates a really beautiful piece of paper that you can use. So time for some black. I don't know. I may not end up using black. That black might be a little too much. How about this? How about I put some music notes in here? Yep. I think that's the right amount of black. You know, I think that other black was just a little too over the top. As much as I love it, and I do love it, just might not be the right thing. Alright, this is really bright, and you know what I might do? I'm going to take some of my walnut ink, distress ink, and I'm just going to lightly, I'm going to do that here too, because that is just, and this one too, it is really, some of these are really in your face. That's the great part about having these inks around, in my view, is you can change any paper you want to be not quite so, hello. And if that's too dark, I can always take a paper towel and come back and remove some of that ink. Okay. So you get the idea here. I'm going to continue on, and then I'm going to come back with the next step, which is once all of this is filled in, then we're going to go over top with some rub-ons and some hearts and some other pieces and elements, and see, you know, see how we can make this a bit more interesting. Okay? As I'm getting now towards the bottom, I want to start thinking about repeating some of the same paper. So I have this paper here, and I'm going to now bring it down here, and repeating it so that I have, and I may have made a mistake with this one because I did not put it up here high enough. I'm not sure I want to repeat it again, but I may. But I'm going to go through now and just start doing what I call an audit. And this is optional. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to. But this is what I do, because I feel like it makes sense to your eye. Like I've got 2 toiles here, and then 2 of the pink hearts, and you know, I'll have to point it all out. And the turquoise might be the exception because it is your accent color, but certainly with the reds, I really want to make sure that I have 2 of everything, and 3 is fine. I have 3 of these, and this stripe and these stripes are different, but they kind of, when you get them on the paper, they read the same. So I feel like I got 4 of the same stripe. This has some turquoise text in it. Oh, let me see if I can get that a little closer. That's got some turquoise text where that's more like a ticking. And it's got, you know, it's got some damage to it, you know, or it's meant to be distressed. But what I'm trying to do is, with the exception of my neutrals, I'm not making sure that my neutrals are repeated, but I am making sure that my, you know, my 2 ditzy prints are there, and And these two guys are there. It's not a hard and fast rule, but that's what I'm working on now as I come to the bottom. I only have one of these. So I may add it here or I may add it down here. But this heart almost substitutes in, you see? So even though this paper is the same paper, this heart and this heart, they're exaggerated, they're oversized. So that gives you the visual idea of the bigger heart. So I may not have to include any more of these. These are like my least favorite so far. I'm a bit more grungy than this. This is a bit bright for me. But you know, it's the season. It's Valentine's. It's hard to be grungy all the time with Valentine's. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing now, is I'm just making sure that there's a balance. And I feel like I need a bit more turquoise in here. I've got some pieces, but I think I definitely need to continue with that. I think I need to continue with some neutrals and just finish it up. So now that all the squares are down, I've been playing with some just bits out of my drawers, stamps and these pieces that I made, and you know, other little pieces of ephemera that you just managed to have. I have a whole thing here of just numbers and things I've stamped on myself. Some came from a kit, some came from, you know, things you buy at the store, Tim Holtz's stuff, and other things I've made just with scraps of this and that. This is a little charm. Anyway, so what I'm doing now is I'm doing my next layer, which is just another flat layer, another non-dimensional layer. And I've started placing things around, and just like with the squares, you just kind of want to repeat things to a certain degree. I use these. Sometimes I'm just going to trim this a little bit. I used this one in its full size, but these two I've trimmed, and I'm going to trim this one. Some of these papers I like less than others, but that's part of the I think that's part of the process in using your stash. It's just you're using up stuff that you normally pass over. But if you can use it now, and it kind of gets hidden in, like, for instance, I am not a big fan of this paper, and I have it here twice, and that's okay, because it kind of hides, and it's kind of a neutrally in the middle of all the rest of it. But what if I take this lace, well, whatever, this eyelet looking paper that I punched with the thing, wherever that went, here, this guy, and so, you know how I put it here, and I put a couple of them here. Well, I was going to put it there, but then, oops, a lot of frame here, sorry. But then it's right next to the white, and so kind of, I don't know, I don't like it. It disappears, it does whatever. So then I thought, well, you know, I could do that with it. No reason for it to have to go, you know, down. It can go up, and that's kind of interesting. The other thing I was going to say is I like to, with my next layer, is cover junctions. Now, obviously with a grid, you got a bunch of junctions. And by junctions, I mean where the 4 pieces of paper here come together. You're not going to be able to cover every junction. You're just not. It would be too busy and too much and too whatever. But I think if you cover a little bit here and there, I think you end up with a really nice, insert word here. My eye likes it. But if you put some here and there, and again, I'm balancing. I'm not putting it, you know, right next to that one, because that would just, it pulls your eye there. And I don't want your eye to go anywhere. I want your eye to go everywhere. The other piece of advice, if I can, is that some of my stamps, you know, are going this way and some are going this way. And then the last thing is I try to put 2 pieces together where possible, so that they have a buddy system with your pieces. Now this guy over here is standing alone. He's the cheese, stands alone. So I could pull out another buddy and go with him and go right underneath him, or go over top of him. It's just whatever your eye likes. I don't pretend to tell you there's a recipe or there's a right or a wrong, because there isn't. Another thing that I did was I pulled out one night when I was sitting at the couch, I had a bunch of these book pages, and I just cut them into some squares. You know, as one does. And then I had some like washi and ephemera sitting there, and I just started putting, and I have a whole pile of them, as you can see here. And I thought just now, well, what if maybe I have to trim some of these down a little bit, but what if I make a different scale? Put these down, because you're not going to use a lot of these, I don't think. But because these guys are bigger, and like I said, maybe you trim them. But these could, if I did like 3 or 5 of these, picking the right colors, you know, an orange monarch may or may not be the right one at this moment. But what if I did, you know, some of these, and now these guys, oh, this was half a flower from something else I had cut, and I just threw it back in my little bin, so I put it underneath. But what if we start, and maybe I make these 3 touch, maybe I move that up. You see how this is kind of coming together, and this is just my process. This is just who I am and how I do it. I'm a self-taught artist, and so this bird is kind of cool. He's got a little pink breast on him and a little red head, so maybe I swap out this rose and I put this bird right here because I want him looking into the piece instead of looking off the piece. I've got roses. I've got this really cute quilted star pattern. Maybe that would be cute, maybe not. What else? I've got a couple things here. So I was just kind of playing with some of these. Oh, this little squirrel. He's cute. Look at the squirrel. What if he's up here, kind of just hanging out? There's little pink flowers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I need a 5th one, because if you can do something, do it in odds, right? I do like this dragonfly. I'm a big fan of dragonflies. Flower, girl, 2 animals. Maybe I need another flower, though. Just, you know, my sensibilities here of what does what. So kind of moving around the page here. What if the flower comes up here, hangs out with that heart? And maybe we move that stamp up. He still kind of covers that intersection, but now he relates to that little square, that little cluster there. So that's kind of where I am. So this is layer 2. Layer 1 was the squares. Layer 2 is the junction covering. And also too, you can use this opportunity. Do you see here? You might not be able to see it on camera, but there's a little bitty gap there. There's a little bitty white gap. There's a little bitty white gap here. Now we can fill that in later with other things, but this could also be an opportunity if you wanted to pull out something and go, no, you don't. You do not see a white thing there because I'm going to put something there. Now, of course, I would need to not just let it sit there on its own. I would need to relate it somehow. Maybe I take this is a piece of book page, by the way, that when I was tearing these book pages and you have the edges, then I just stamp it. Maybe I do that. Don't be afraid to turn things on their side and to, you know, cover them up. You'll still see them, but turn them on their side, make them be unexpected. And now suddenly this page has got a whole new look. And I may end up trimming down Mr. Squirrel. He's awfully alone in that big sea of, and there's not anything else covering it up. Or I might come back behind and go, all right, Squirrel, you're cute, but you need something else. Nope, that's a little too bright for me. But maybe I'll find something else to go there, to go on top, so that he's not so, or I'll end up trimming him. Ooh, hold on, what's this? All right, here's a dude there. I think I'm going to end up trimming him. Yeah, let's just trim him. So let's just show you it. Grab, these scissors are great, by the way. These are these spring-loaded ones. Fiskars makes some. These are by Tim Holtz. But I'm just going to eyeball this, and I'm going to take out on the top and take down, well, that was the top, and just kind of eyeball it. And I'm going to reduce him. Okay. And now, see, he looks so much better now. Now he looks like he's meant to be on that, and he's not like a a kid wearing dad's overcoat, you know. Let me find another one and show you another thing you can do too. All right, this guy is a William Morris stamp. Love Bill. Bill and I. We like Bill. How many of you have these? These, because you started with the, watch this. Now maybe this isn't great because it's a, all right, let's do the quilt. So it's not same pattern on pattern. Ta-da. Now, how stinking cute is that? And if you wanted to, you know, me and inking the edges, I got to ink the edge, I got to have the brown. And so we'll put a little brown on it. And now, maybe, obviously I've got 5 here already. I'm not need a 6th one. But look, how cute is that? I mean, come on. So, pull out your ephemera pieces, the bits and bobs that you have in a baggie that's been in that Ziploc baggie forever, and pull out your book page or your glue pages or whatever you've got that's been sitting around, and make yourself some little squares. See, that bothers me. So I'm going to deal with it. Now I just went from okay to cute. And then you stick that in your in a little bin next to your desk, and when you're ready for a piece of ephemera, I'm going to pull that little guy off because that's just not cool. All right, there we go. That's better. You got some ready-made ephemera that's yours, and you just did it by mass making on the couch at night while you're watching TV. Okay, so I'm going to glue all this down, and then we'll come back for the next layer, which will be the dimensional layer. Okay. One more thing before we move on. One of the things I like all artists or all crafters struggle with organization. Okay, let's call it what it is. And one of the ways I combat that is, well, one of my problems, I should say, is out of sight, out of mind. And so what I found years ago is that if I put like with like, in this case I'm cleaning up to get ready for the next part, and I thought, well, I'll just turn the camera on for a second. I am putting all of these leftover bits that I didn't use. Oops, stamps didn't end up where they're supposed to. They got turned over. I'll put them back. I put, because you always end up with leftovers that you don't use. And if you don't see them, I put them in these clear envelopes, as you can plainly tell. Even the ones that punched badly. Here's one that I punched badly. But ultimately, I might end up using it in another project underneath something or to the side of something, and so I can still use it. Anyway, so I'm going to put, excuse me, I've got all my Valentine scrap leftovers, and it's going to go in a Valentine. I have a little bucket, and then I have an area where I keep all my Valentine stuff. And whoops, an escapee. And it's a bucket, and when I get to the, it's a tubby. It's a 12 by 12 thing. And then this is going to go in general ephemera, and I got these little envelopes at Amazon. It doesn't everybody. This is stuff I made. I cut up a piece of scrapbook paper. It had these stamped out things, and I cut them and put them on some craft stock, and then I started putting 2 or 3 bits of ephemera on top. And these make great little cards. When you need a last minute greeting card, or you can just tile them across a card and slap a sentiment in the inside, and you're good to go. These things are great for a variety of things. Anyway, I just wanted to show you, as I was cleaning up, what I do. And then these will go in their respective buckets where I know they are when I'm ready for my next craft time session. So what I'm going to do next is, I thought I would, and this is trash, as much as, oh, one thing I was going to point out is that some of those I was cutting and trimming, I used the leftover bits. Escapee. Where did I use the other one? I cut it in half. Oh, here. This was the cutoff piece of, I think, the squirrel, or I don't know, one of these guys. And it was just plain, and I inked it and just stuck it. But then when I'm done, I could save all these little bits, right? I could. But the reality is that now, where am I going to put these? As much as it pains me, they're going in the trash bucket. All right. Next. I said next was to mention, and I lied. Next is black or brown. We need to apply, my process, I need to apply something dark to anchor. And it may end up, there's a little bit of dark in here and there. There's some little bits of black. But what I'm going to do is rubber stamp, or if you've got, pull those rub-ons out. I don't know about you, but I have sheets and sheets and scads, and I love them, but I never use them. And then once I use them, I think, why don't I use these more often? This is the question of the day. Why don't I? So we're about to. All right, so let me get selective about some of these and figure out where we're going to use them. Okay, so time for just some fill the blankers. And I'm trying to decide what color to use. And I started to cut up these rub-ons, and I've about changed my mind because they're so black. I think maybe I want to go with a lighter color. And this might be too light, so we may have to go back to the drawing board. But I have, beside my desk, a little, at all times, like this little guy of just little bits. And, that's a Tim Holtz heart right there that I just keep out. But I like bees and dragonflies and so forth in my piece of animals, but I'm not sure they're appropriate. The scale is too big. I saw this heart one in my stash. I'm like, too big. It covers too much. See the coverage. This is meant to just be a little whatever, a little something that pulls everything together, like this guy. So I'm thinking like something right across here. So I pulled out some little pieces. I mean, this guy's Judikins, $19.99. I've had this for a minute. But let's just play and see what happens. I have no expectation at this point. This color is so pale. I'm hoping that it does exactly what I'm looking for, which is just to kind of marry without being, yeah, it's exactly what I was looking for. This is my new favorite color. Sorry, Tim. I love this color. I also love the full-size pads. He's got a lot of really great options in his distress line, which are the smaller pads. But I I just like the big ones. I'm a big pad kind of girl. All right, so let me go here. I'm just going to go, I'm not going to use this all over. I'm just going to use it here and there. But it, I like what it does. And then I'll pull out some of these other ones and see if they're going to be what I want. And then I'm going to flip it this time. And I'm just going to have it go. And, you know, don't overthink it. Just add another layer. Whenever I'm talking to people and they go, how do you know? I was like, just add another layer until your brain says, okay, it's done. I'm good. Add another layer and turn it and have it go across multiple pieces like that, so that it doesn't, it looks like it's meant to be there and not just an afterthought. And here I'm going to even go there and even went a little bit onto that. So I'm just going to sit here and do a couple of these and just add these layers in. I'm debating trying some of these guys. These are new to me. These were in a set from, you know, the old Amazon. And thought they were fun because they were long and they had a lot of different things going on with them. Now, usually I will prime these first by stamping them in archival. Guess what? We're going to... I should off stamp them onto something else, but I'm going to walk on the wild side today. And this may be too busy. I might not enjoy it because I really enjoy the flourishy kind of thing instead of that. That's not bad, but you miss it. You know, some of it goes missing. All right, let's try one of the other ones. Oh, who cares? Just grab one. At the end of the day, it's just meant to be another layer. And that's what we're after, is another layer. Okay, like that. Lift that up a little bit. Like that a lot. Compare that to the swirly guy there. Like him a little better. But that's not bad. All right, let's try another one of these long, skinny dudes. Oh, another stamp that made an escapee. What are you doing over here? You need to go with your brothers. We'll get you there later. Yeah, I'm liking this lighter color rather than the black. I'm afraid the black would be too in your face about it. And this is not going to show much because it's so dark. The paper is so dark, I mean. But subliminally, have more coffee, please. You will still be aware it's there. All right, let's see if we're going to regret this decision. Probably. No, actually I don't. Okay, so that's those. This is my favorite, this guy. He's a favorite. I would like some more long swirly guys, you know, like just 2 or 3 of these in total. This little Judikins, we're going to go see if we can just have a little fun here and there. Now I'm just going to turn it and use the next side, and I don't know. That didn't really need it, and it was already pretty interesting. All right, now we're going to turn it, do it again. Maybe up there. Oh, that was a corner one. Huh. Might pay attention. It might be good to pay attention to what it is before you go stamping with it. Nah. Walk on the wild side, I say. Yeah, I don't know. These are too little, I think, for me to get excited about them. I don't hate them. It's just, I like that guy better. All right, so there is the next layer. This part is going to absolutely depend on what you're doing, your end product result. This is an 11 by 15 piece of watercolor paper, and I used it so that it would have a lot of heft, and it would take the glue and all the paper on it and be sturdy. I plan on using this in a frame with glass. So the dimensional part for me is going to have to be minimal because it's going to go behind glass. But if this were going in a shadow box, or I was putting it on a canvas, I potentially would do one of these things I'm about to show you. So everybody's got, well, maybe you have these frames that you've picked up and you thought, oh, those are cute. I'll do something with those and hang them on the Christmas tree or something. Here's your time to use it, because how cute would this be if you paint this red? Super easy to do. Probably takes 2 or 3 coats because this stuff is really thirsty. And then you take a photo, your favorite photo, and you put it there. And then you mount this on a canvas, or you put it on an easel, like a book easel or an art easel, or book stand. And you have a picture of you and your sweetheart in there. If you don't have these, a lot of you guys have these cardboard frames, these chipboard frames rather, from Tim Holtz. This particular pattern would be great. These are still, you can still get these. These are still available. I think I got this at Joann's, by the way. And you go down their wood section, and they always have something down there that you go, ooh, that's cool. What would I do with it? Here's your chance. If you're doing a smaller piece, you could do it here. You could even do 2, like a picture of him, a picture of her, and a little note in between, or a little your favorite saying, or your favorite song and lyrics. Anyway, another idea I have is just take some chipboard, whether it be this shape or just a square. Everybody's got these, most everybody's got some of these chipboard letters laying around that they didn't use in a project, and cover them with some tissue paper, paint them, cover them in scrapbook paper or whatever, and then you just put it there. And how neat is that? I mean, that's just their initial. Or I've got these wood planks left over from another project, and I could put it here with me, and then maybe get an ampersand. I didn't dig one out, and then get another little piece, and maybe I just get it like this and pop this up and go me and you. Again, paint, paper, whatever. And it doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't require printing anything. It just use your stash. Another idea I had was I had these letters. How cute is this? This is just, and offset them a little bit. And if you don't have this, you could take the back of this particular pad right here is a super thick chipboard. So pull off one of those backs, save them the next time you get rid of a legal pad or anything like that. Turn it over, cut a heart shape, cut it. There you go. You're using what you've got handy. And then you put this here, pull out some wooden letters. I have a ton of these numbers that I bought, on clearance one time, thinking, oh, I'll use those. And then you can do them straight, just like, or offset. I kind of like them a little offset, a little off register there. There you go. And then behind it, I could put a doily, this is not the right size. I should have pulled out the right size, but how cute would that be, sitting on the back of a full-size doily? And these also could be book covers or cards. And that's the last part I was going to mention, or just one initial. Cute with a heart. Once you make this is also called a masterboard. And you can then cut this up and use these as card fronts. So you can cut these up and put them on cards. So this doesn't have to be a project you hang in your house. It could be cut up and used into greeting cards. So my piece is going to have to be somewhat flat because it is going to go behind glass. So I'm going to gather those pieces. But I wanted to show you these things real quick because it doesn't have to be flat like mine in the event you want some dimension to it because you're going to set it out. Okay? I decided that this is a little too sweet. I know. It's kind of what you're going for when you do stuff like this, right? But, ooh, this is gooey. But I'm going to do some white splatters. It just it's screaming for it. I'm going to do it using some cheap 50 cents from the Walmart white craft paint apple barrel. And I'm just watering it down like crazy. And I'm just going to add some white splatters. I think that will. It just feels too sweet for me. I'm grungy. I'm rustic. I mean, I appreciate a valentine, but this is a little sweeter than I'm used to. So I'm just gonna. Ooh, I'm going to apparently paint my entire studio in white. I just flicked it everywhere. If you know me, you know that's the norm. I'm just going to put some splatters. And the lower down you go, the bigger they are, the higher up you go, the smaller they get. Oh, I even got it on my GoPro. Well, okay. It wouldn't be an artist's camera if it didn't have a little paint on it. And I'll have to clean this up. And that's okay. Because this has got to dry. And that's okay too. All right, so I just added some white splatters. I'm liking that so much better. Now it feels intentional, like everything's all like part of the same story. Everybody's having the same conversation. And now I'm gonna go clean up all the white paint and let this dry. And because I can't leave well enough alone, I'm now gonna add some gold. It just needs it. Valentine's gold, glitzy, pretty, shiny, blingy. Yeah, it needs it. This is from Hobby Gold. But the cheap craft paint from Walmart works too. That stuff though tends to be a little watery, so make sure you shake it up really good. And now that I've cleaned up all the white, I'm going to now douse my studio in gold because let's see if I can control this a little better. Ooh. Oh, also I uncovered the bird's eye. It was covered in big white blotch. And I just, okay, a little more controlled this time. Way to go. We'll go up higher. Alright, I'm not seeing as much gold here. Maybe I watered it down too much. That's the thing, is you got to find your gold. Everybody's got their favorite. And this is a new tube for me, so I don't know. It was on sale. I thought, let's try it. I think I'm going to like it fine, but let's... Yeah, getting gold paint on my studio table, but... Well... I did get it off my GoPro. You'd be happy to know. All else fails, just shake it. I'm not having good success with this fan brush today. Usually a fan brush is exactly what I like to use to splatter, but this is, maybe this one's a little too gunked up. Alright, let me just show you where we are with the gold. Has to dry, of course, but I think the little flecks of gold, let me see if they can shine a little bit for you. I think they're good. Okay. Now I think we're finally ready for the finishing piece, I promise. Okay, so for my focal point, I mentioned it's going to be flat, so I'm going to take this old postcard. Got it at a antique shop with a whole bunch. I got like a pack of 50 of them anyway. And I thought this would be cool. I'm going to mat it on, I'm going to go back to my scrapbooking roots and I'm going to mat it. But in between, I think I'm going to grab this lace that I've got in my stash and I'm going to do a lace in between. Just to, because it's Valentine's, the lace kind of works. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And, oh, the gold dried beautifully, by the way. It just absolutely, I don't think it's going to show on camera. But anyway, I'm going to do the decal. I'm going to do a decal edge on it. This is the decal trimmer tonic, Tim Holtz. And this card is like 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, 5.5. So I'm going to make this piece kind of be like 5 by 7 is kind of what I'm shooting for. I may have to cut it down a little bit more, but I'm going to go 5 of this away. And get a regular edge on it. See, it gives you that that like old photograph edge. So that's fine. And then I'm going to cut this. Wait. So that's my... Oh, I need more coffee. The thing about this trimmer is wherever you put it, if you put it at the top, you're going to get the same cut. But if you move it down a little bit, you get a different edge. So it's not all samey, which I kind of like. And then you just line it up on these little lines here so that you make sure you're not cutting it wonky-do. So I'll do that. And then, all right, so that was 5. Yeah, okay. And then I need 7 this away. So this only goes to 6. So I'm just going to, that's probably 7. Okay, and then move it down. Remember, we don't want the same cut everywhere. I'll move it closer to the bottom. All right, so let's, assuming your paper's square to start with, right? All right, there's 7. And then I needed 5, just double checking myself. Yep, so we take just a hair off of this side, we should be good. and then I'll have to glue the lace. But this kind of gives you and this, I may have to cut it down a bit more, but this kind of gets us going in that direction. This is paper by Tim Holtz called Memoranda. It's out of print, it's out of published, whatever. I've hoarded this stuff. I love it. Oh yeah, way too big. What was I thinking? 5x7. Why was I thinking that? Oh, because I got to put the lace around this guy. I think what I'm going to do is wait to decide how big, if I need to trim this after I put the lace on. Because once I put the lace on, I still want, I'm just going to put barely an edge to it under this postcard. I'm still going to want, I think I may want to put a sentiment down here. I may not, but I'm going to go put the lace on now, and I'll be back. Okay, so this is almost dry. I used a little stapler right here. This little tiny attacher guy from Tim. And I like it because it just won't, it's just being stubborn. These other guys are fairly secure, although I may staple them too. You know what? Why not? Let's see, I went up and down this way. I'll go sideways here. Adds a little texture to it, and I'm impatient. I don't want to wait for it to dry. So I may staple all four corners. I've got to glue it down to the background here anyway, but this will just make sure it doesn't wiggle on me when I'm doing that. If I could stop fiddling with it. It doesn't have to be on either. See how I went off the card there? This one's the first one I did, so it's a little better, but all the way around. Okay, so now I'm going to do here and here, and then what I'm planning on doing is putting a sentiment at the bottom. I pulled out a bunch of these sentiment strips. These are chipboard, but I'm going to make them thinner because they're too thick. Got to figure out which one. But before I do that, I was just doing a little inking around the edge of this guy, because that way it'll stand out from your background. And it kind of goes with the inking that I already did. Don't think I'm going to make this any smaller. I thought I made it too big, but I kind of measured it and said 5x7, and then when I cut it, I thought, oh, too big, but now I don't think so. So I want to put that there. I like, so the rule of thirds, top right or left, bottom right or left, or the other alternative is middle. I never like things middle, so I'm going to go bottom right. And yep, it's going to cover up some of my really pretty collaging, but you never know where you're going to end up putting it. So you make it all pretty, and then something ends up getting covered up. That's the way that goes. All right, so we've got that there. I just pulled out some options that, you know, the sentiments made sense, and then I figured I would, today's full of possibilities. They sure look like they're about ready to embark on something there, don't they? They do. But kind of like collect beautiful moments, because that's just, yeah, that's what I like. That's what's talking to me, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so in order to make this a little less thick, just gonna get in here and pull that piece off. And if that's still too thick, yeah, go find another spot. And if it doesn't seem to want to go, I sometimes will just take a needle and pierce the layers right there like that. And that will let me pull back so that I can just get, because I can hand letter it, sure. Do I want to? No. All right, is this rough? Absolutely, but we're gluing it, so nobody's going to see it. And then I'm just going to, because I can, because I'm grungy, I'm going to ink this up. That white lace looks like I should have put it in a bit further, but oh well. It's very white. I tried some cream color coffee dyed lace and I didn't like it. All right, collect beautiful moments. We're there, we're almost there. I feel like it needs something under, something else. A little bit of red or something. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe we're there and I'm just being fussy. Do I need some more ribbon? This is some old ribbon. But if I put some red underneath, maybe it needs some metal. Yeah, but it's going behind glass. Gotta remind myself of that. I'm very dimensional typically. So dimension makes me happy. But what if I did that off the ends and then put a couple of brads there? That might do it. Maybe. Decisions. No, I'm not loving that. It's too distracting. And I'm just curling this back around. Do I want metal? It's going under glass. Something flat. All right, back to the drawing board. I'll be back. Okay, I figured it out. It was couple things. One, the lace was too white, so I took my little ink thingy and I Second is it was too square. I have all these squares, this grid going on, so I offset this, and now I'm gonna make the sentiment be a little wonky as well, off center. And then I grabbed a piece out of my stash of just muslin. I don't know. Probably should not have. Then I'm going to fray the edges here. What I'm going to do is just fold it over on itself, like that. I know it's going to be a little dimensional. I can't help it. My dimensional self is screaming for dimension, but I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm just going to kind of turn it into a super large tag, and I'm going to, well, maybe. No, I am. I'm going to staple it twice. I can make an X, maybe. Come on. This way. And then, maybe I'm going to make something. Might have to staple it 3 times. Okay. And now we're going to, nope, I had it this way. Nope, I want it this way. And then I'm going to go this way with it. No, I'm not going to do it square on. No, I had it a different way. Oh, I think I had it like that. Yeah. Had it like that. That's it. Okay, let's glue this down before we change our mind again. Goodbye, lovely collage. Sorry you had to go. But that's part of the... I know it's there, and I had fun doing it, and that's the whole point of any of these making sessions is, did you have fun? And are you happy with the outcome? And the answer to all of that is yes and yes. So we're going to put this down off kilter, off register, off alignment. That makes me so much happier. It was too squared up. That's part of what was bothering me, was it was also samey square. Okay, now we're going to go. This is going to go a bit more straight, but because it's against something that's off, it doesn't look straight. But it's fine. And if you don't have old postcards, any piece of ephemera you have, I mean, there's any number of kits that come with images. Tim Holtz sells those photo packs with people in them. And I've gone and printed out, like I took my mom's scrapbook from when she was a girl, and this is just printed on copy paper, and I halfway toyed with, but it's so yellow, I decided I'm going to do a different project with that another day. But this could be anything. This does not have to be a vintage piece of postcard. And I may end up giving this to somebody. I may give it away. I may give it to my sister. I might sell it. You just never know. But and I kind of want this going off as well, because I don't want it to be... Ooh, I covered the bird's face. Oh well, I didn't mean to do that. It's okay. It is okay. All right, so I'm going to pull the camera up. I'm going to call this piece done 3 years later. Not really. Sometimes your plan changes mid-plan, and you got to be willing to go, yeah, that's not working for me. I got to do something else. So I will tear this out and call this a day, and I'll put this in a frame. I have tons of frames, so this is now going to a home, which will then go on the wall and stay out for the season. So thanks for joining me, and I enjoyed the process. Hope you did too. If you feel like making one, knock yourself out. It's a fun little exercise of using what you got. I did not do anything but use what I got. That's my mantra. Right. Until next time, bye.